Hi and welcome back to another video on my channel. I'll be continuing the Mercury sign series today, and today I wanted to talk to you about Mercury in Cancer. People with this Mercury sign will be very good at remembering the past. They tend to have really good memories because they are so in tune with their own emotions and their own impressions of past experiences with different situations, different people, and with their childhood. They tend to be very much in tune with their own emotions, and they'll have a tendency to involve their emotions with their own thought processes, with the way that they make decisions. They're going to do it many times based off of their emotions and what they're feeling at the time. So it's not always about them making the right decisions based on what their logic is that they know that they should be doing. Instead, it's just mostly about how they're feeling. And so, with that in mind, Mercury and Cancer people can have a tendency to change their mind quite a bit because it's similar to the changing phases of the moon. If you want to think about it that way, they do have that parallelism with the flux and flow and the ebb and flow of the moon phases, because they are ruled by the moon. And so you can think about their thinking process as being very similar to that, the changeability of the moon. They can have a tendency to hold on to past experiences that they've had with people or with anything really. Just they tend to think about the past a lot, and they think about how things have made them feel before, or how people have made them feel before. Anything that really brings out their sentimentality, anything that brings about any kind of strong emotion in them, or bring back certain memories, whether they're good or bad, is going to be at the forefront of a Mercury in Cancer's brain. And these people tend to have a inclination for caring about others. Like, the way that they think, they have a protectiveness about them that is going to make them seem very caring to other people. It's going to make them feel like the caretaker or the protector of the people around them. So you can really see it in the way that they talk, in the way that you have a conversation with them. They're going to seem like a very caring and emotionally supportive person in the way that they talk to you. They're going to want to express themselves in ways that that show that they care about you, and that they're there to protect you, that they're there to defend you. And so other people can be really drawn to this because it does show their sensitivity, and they do have a vulnerability in the way that they speak and the way that they carry themselves in the conversation. And it's not always very straightforward with the way that they speak. Like, if they have something in particular on their mind that's bothering them, they're not going to just come right out and say it. They're probably going to like tiptoe around it a little bit, or maybe give little subtle hints that they're thinking about it, that this thing is on their mind, and they can be a little bit passive about expressing what their thoughts are. Um, because we're dealing with Cancer here, and so it's always going to be a little bit indirect. It's always going to be a little bit careful and cautious. Cancer is that sign that wants to protect themselves, and they carry their home on their back in order to protect themselves and just be on guard all the time. And so I feel that a Mercury in Cancer will want to protect themselves in the same way, but just more in the communication sphere of things. Like, I think that when you're having a conversation with a Mercury in Cancer, things can get easily pretty emotional with them. It's not going to take long before you do see how they feel about a certain subject or a certain topic, even though they're trying to protect that softness inside of them because they know how sensitive they are. It's easy to see how they're being affected emotionally by what you're talking about. And so their words might say one thing, but the way that they say it, or based on the emotion that you're getting from them when they talk about that certain thing, they're gonna be an open book about. They're gonna be an open book when it comes to like how they're feeling about it. While they might be indirect about what they really think about something, how they feel is a totally different story, because they're gonna they're gonna end up wearing their heart on their sleeve anyway while they talk about that specific thing or person. Mercury in Cancer might have a hard time separating what they feel and what they think. They can have a hard time separating their logical judgments and, pure sentiment. Oftentimes they'll get confused between the two because their emotions are very much tied to their thoughts, and their emotional reactions and instincts are very much tied to their rationality. So they can kind of confuse the two. They can kind of like, there's this blurred line between those two areas of their own psyche. Like, they might not know which is which at times. Mercury in Cancer can also make someone pretty moody in the way that they speak to you. Like, you're not always gonna know who you're gonna get at at different times of the day. It'll be based on what they're feeling, and it'll be based on their moods. So their moods are always going to be changing. Well, depends on their mood sign mostly, but with Mercury in Cancer, their emotions, no matter what they might be, are always going to be tied to their conversations and how they speak to you, how they communicate with you. You might not always know what you're going to get with them. And so things can be a little bit unpredictable with Mercury in Cancer. Because that they're so sensitive, um, they might take things that you say a little bit too personally. They might take it to heart, things that you don't really mean, or things that you don't mean for it to be personal at all. They're going to take it personally, and they're going to involve their emotions. They're going to involve their heart. So some extra caution or care might have to be taken when you're speaking to them, because um, they do pick up on like little subtleties in the way that you speak, and so that can really make a difference in the way that they're interpreting what you're saying. They have a way of picking up little cues here and there, um, in order to really detect what it is that you're feeling, because Mercury in Cancer is going to want to know um, how you really feel about what you're talking about, and if they're going to take those cues based on how you say things. I feel like a Mercury in Cancer is going to really pay much more attention to how you're saying things and the intonation behind your voice, the emotion on your face, um, instead of the words that you're actually saying. So you could be making an argument or making a point about one thing, and giving all these logical reasonings and rationale behind your argument, but a Mercury in Cancer would be able to see through that. They're going to be able to see if you're really telling the truth, if you're really believing honestly in what it is that you're saying based on how you're saying it. They can easily read between the lines when it comes to talking to people. They can be very, very good at that, because Cancer is a water sign, so they're very intuitive, and so they have that intuitive they use that intuition when they're speaking to people. So it might not be that the conclusions that they make about people when they're talking to them, when they're having a conversation with them, like, they might form judgments or conclusions about people, not completely based on what it is that they're really seeing or hearing. It's mostly going to be based on what they're feeling and what their intuition, their instincts are saying about the person, which can be a little bit useful sometimes, where others people don't really notice anything, or they don't get the same type of feeling that a Mercury in Cancer will have about a person or a situation. A Mercury in Cancer is going to detect that difference. They're going to be able to see through what it is that a person is saying. They can read between the lines and just be able to judge if that person's telling the truth or not. So I think that about wraps up my Mercury in Cancer video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you found it to be informative and helpful in some way. And if you did, please like this video. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well for another series that's coming up very soon. If you have any ideas for other series that you want to see on my channel, what Mercury sign video you want to see next, please go ahead and let me know down below in the comments. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.